Most men fail after a breakup not because the woman left them, but because they lack the discipline to stay silent when it matters most. Let me be brutally honest with you. The no contact rule is not a trick to make her miss you. It's a test of whether you can master yourself. And here's the shocking truth. 90% of men fail that test. They break silence too early. They chase. They beg. And in doing so, they lose the little respect she may have still had for them. But here's where it gets even more controversial. If you think no contact is about her, you've already lost. It's about you. It's about whether you can live without external validation, whether you can walk away with your dignity intact, whether you can look in the mirror and know you didn't crumble at the first wave of discomfort. Stoicism teaches us that true strength comes from self-control, from being unmoved by emotions that drag lesser men into chaos. No contact is the battlefield where this lesson is tested. And I'll say something that will offend a lot of men. If you break no contact without a very specific reason, you're proving that you're not in control of yourself. She is. So when should you break it? Only under one condition: when it aligns with your values and principles, not your impulses. Anything else is weakness disguised as hope. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 10 critical principles rooted in Stoicism that will tell you exactly when breaking no contact is justified and when it's nothing but self-sabotage. It's not about her one. No contact is not about her. Most men make the fatal mistake of thinking the no contact rule is a strategy to manipulate a woman into missing them. They believe if they disappear long enough, she'll magically realize what she lost and come running back. That's the wrong mindset, and it's exactly why so many men fail. No contact is not about her. It's about you. It's about reclaiming control over your emotions and proving to yourself that you can survive without constant validation from a woman who walked away. If your whole plan is to wait for her to miss you, you've already handed her the power. You're still orbiting around her choices, not your own. Think about it this way. If a woman left, she made her decision. Chasing after her only reinforces that decision. But when you cut contact, not out of anger, but out of self-respect, you're showing that you are capable of moving forward with or without her. That silence is not a game. It's a statement of independence. Stoicism teaches men to control what they can and accept what they cannot. You cannot control whether she values you, but you can control how you respond. And walking away is the ultimate test of whether you're driven by neediness or by principle. If she comes back good, if she doesn't, even better, you just saved yourself from wasting time on someone who didn't truly value you. Either way, no contact ensures that you win and builds long-term inner strength, confidence, and emotional independence. Imagine a man whose girlfriend left him, and instead of texting her nonstop, he cut off all contact. Months later, she messages him asking why he never reached out. His response? Nothing. Because his silence was never about making her miss him. It was about proving to himself that he could live without her attention. That's strength, too. Silence is power, not weakness. Here's the truth most men don't want to hear. When you stay silent, you're actually displaying more strength than when you're constantly trying to explain yourself. Weak men can't handle silence. They feel the urge to text, to call, to justify their worth. Strong men understand that silence speaks louder than any paragraph ever could. Women are wired to test men. When you stop chasing and go silent, it forces her to confront the reality that she no longer has free access to your attention. That's uncomfortable for her because your silence highlights the one thing she can't control: your response. Men who break silence too quickly always regret it. They send that long message. They pour out emotions. They try to convince her. And what happens? She either ignores it, or worse, she loses even more respect for him. Why? Because he just showed her that she still has control over his emotions. That's not attractive, it's desperate. Silence, on the other hand, is magnetic. It communicates self-respect without a single word. It says, I don't need you to understand me. I don't need your validation, and I won't compete for your attention. In a world where men are constantly begging for a woman's time, being silent sets you apart as a man who values himself above all, and strengthens your frame and personal authority. From a Stoic perspective, silence is the ultimate discipline. It shows that you're not ruled by impulses, but by reason. And here's the controversial part. When you stay silent, you don't just gain her curiosity, you regain your own peace. A man's ex keeps posting on social media, clearly fishing for his reaction. Most men would take the bait and comment or reach out, but he stays silent. Days turn into weeks, and eventually she sends him a direct message. So you don't care anymore, that single message proves it. His silence was louder than anything he could have said. Let her stay gone. 3. If she left, let her stay gone. Men often struggle with the reality that if a woman truly valued you, she wouldn't have left in the first place. It's harsh, but it's the truth. The moment she walked away, she revealed where you stood in her priorities. And here's what most men don't want to admit. Trying to drag her back only proves her decision was right. Think about the nights you spent overthinking, wondering what went wrong, replaying conversations in your head. That's normal, but chasing her after she already made her choice, that's self-betrayal. You're saying, even though you don't want me, I'll still fight for you. That's not strength. That's desperation dressed up as love. When a woman leaves you, have two choices. You can cling to false hope and keep yourself stuck, or you can accept the pain and move forward. And here's where the power lies. Acceptance doesn't make you weak, it makes you free. Free to focus on yourself, free to build a life so solid that no one's absence can shake it. Men who can let go send the clearest message possible. I was fine before you, and I'll be fine after you. That's attractive. That's stoicism in action. If she left, let her stay gone. Because the man who keeps the door open for someone who walked away is telling the world he doesn't value himself enough to close it. 4. Don't break silence. For maybe one of the biggest traps men fall into after going, no contact is breaking it over uncertainty. A late night, hey stranger text, a random, like on social media, or a vague message that doesn't mean anything. These are the may that make men crumble. Here's the problem. When you respond to those crumbs, you're showing that your silence wasn't rooted in strength. It was rooted in hope. You weren't moving on. You were waiting for a signal. And the moment she throws you something small, you jump at it. That doesn't rebuild attraction. It destroys your value. Women know the power of maybe. They know a single vague message can keep a man hooked. Maybe I'll see you soon. Maybe we should talk. Maybe things could be different. These words aren't commitment, they're bait. And men who take that bait end up back in the same cycle of confusion and frustration. If you're going to break no contact, it can't be over a maybe. It has to be. Because her actions show real consistency, respect, and change, not because she tossed you breadcrumbs. Responding to maybe energy makes you the man who waits around, hoping she'll choose him, but responding only to real clear effort makes you the man who values himself enough to walk away from half-heartedness. A stoic man doesn't break silence because someone dangled possibility in front of him. He breaks it only when reality, not hope, shows him there's something solid on the table. So remember this, if all she's offering is a maybe, your answer should be silence. 5. Only principles, never emotions. Too many men let their emotions run the show after a breakup. They convince themselves that acting on how they feel in the moment is somehow authentic. But here's the truth. When you let emotions guide your actions, you look weak, desperate, and unstable, and nothing kills attraction faster than a man who can't control himself. Let's be real. Most men fail at no contact, not because they don't understand the rule, but because they lack discipline. They let loneliness push them into sending that I miss you text. They let jealousy push them into checking her social media. They let fear of losing her forever convince them to beg for a second chance. And then they wonder why she looks at them with less respect each time. Wake up, gentlemen. A man who lives by emotions is a man who is easily controlled. Women can sense this, and once they know they can push your buttons, they'll never take you seriously again. Principles are what separates strong men from the rest. A principle says, I don't chase people who walk away. A principle says, my dignity is worth more than a reply. A principle says, if it doesn't align with my self-respect, I don't do it no matter how I feel in the moment. That's stoicism in its purest form, refusing to be a slave to your emotions and instead acting from reason, clarity, and values. So here's your reality check. If you can't stick to principles, you'll stay trapped in cycles of heartbreak and desperation. But if you build your life on principles, no woman, no rejection, no silence can shake you. That's real strength. 6. Her words mean nothing. Actions. Do men get fooled over and over because they believe what a woman says instead of watching what she does? She tells you she still cares, but she's dating someone else. She says she misses you, but she never makes time to see you. She promises change, but her behavior looks exactly the same, and yet too many men ignore the actions and cling to the words like gospel. Here's the harsh reality. Her words cost her nothing. They're easy, they don't require sacrifice, effort, or commitment, but her actions, they tell the truth every single time. If she really values you, you'll see it in consistent behavior. If she doesn't, you'll see excuses, distance, and half-hearted effort. The problem is, most men are so desperate for hope that they'll grab on to any sweet words she throws their way. I still love you. I think about you. Maybe one day those lines are enough to keep weak men waiting, chasing and destroying their self-respect. Wake up, gentlemen. Words are air, actions are reality. A Stoic man doesn't measure a woman by what she says, he measures her by what she consistently does. If her actions don't align with her words, then her words are worthless. And here's the uncomfortable truth. If you ignore her actions and chase her words, you're choosing to lie to yourself. You're choosing weakness over clarity. So here's the standard. Don't break no contact because she said something. Break it only if her actions prove it. Until then, silence is your only answer. Her words mean nothing. Actions do. 7. Break. No contact only when you don't care anymore. Here's the paradox that most men never understand. The only time it's safe to break no contact is when you genuinely don't care about the outcome anymore. Not when you're still secretly hoping to win her back. Not when you're still replaying every memory in your head. Only when her response or lack of it means absolutely nothing to you. Why? Because as long as you care too much, you'll act out of need. You'll text her with expectation. You'll wait for a reply like your life depends on it. And if she ignores you or gives you crumbs, it'll crush you all over again. That's not strength, that's dependency. But when you've built yourself back up, when your happiness is no longer tied to her attention, the dynamic changes. You can reach out without fear because you're not seeking validation. You're simply expressing yourself. Whether she responds or not doesn't shake you because your life is already full. This is where Stoicism comes full circle. The wise man is not ruled by hope or fear. He's ruled by principle. If you decide to break silence, it should come from a place of complete detachment, not emotional hunger. So remember this break. No contact only when you don't care anymore, because the moment you don't need her response is the moment you finally prove to yourself that you've won. At the end of the day, the truth most men don't want to hear is this: if she left you, once she can leave you again. And if you take her back without standards, you're not a man, you're a doormat. That's controversial, but it's the raw reality. A woman should never respect a man more for breaking his own discipline. She respects the man who stands firm, even when it hurts. Gentlemen, I want to hear from you. What has your experience with no contact been like? Have you broken it before and regretted it? Or have you stayed silent and seen the results? Drop your story in the comments and I'll respond to as many as I can. Let's build this conversation together. You're not alone in this, and your voice matters here. Remember, everything we've talked about today isn't just about women, it's about mastering yourself. If you lose a relationship but gain self-respect, you didn't lose at all, you won. And speaking of self-respect, in the next video, we're diving into something even more brutal. Why being too nice to women is actually the fastest way to destroy attraction. Stay tuned, click on that subscribe button, and also turn on the notification bell so you don't miss it. I'll see you then, and take this mindset forward to build a stronger, more disciplined, more respected version of yourself every single day.